everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and we are going on today with our Folio Journal templates. I have to remember what I call this thing. It's a Folio Journal, and these are the templates for it, so that's why it's called that. Okay, so you need a scrap of fabric. You could use paper, so that's fine. I'm going to use fabric on both of them. And we're going to cover this up inside and make a place for our journal later. So what you're going to want, remember we cut that extra cardboard out of just a thin layer of whatever you have. And we made it just slightly smaller than the spine so that it will not poke out on either side and hinder the fold when you fold this up. So we're going to glue this to your fabric scrap. And let's see, I'm going to use, I guess I'll use this one here because this is the same fabric as the spine on the outside. So I'm going to take Fabri-Tac and glue my fabric to it. Just center it. You want bleed on either side. And what I mean is you want a little extra on each side to cover what's going on. That's what we're doing. We're covering stuff up. So we'll attach this in a minute, but I'm going to put it there just so I know where it's going to be in the long run. And I have this fabric. I'm going to leave myself just a little bit extra so that I can wrap it around this and not have a raw edge. But that's up to you. If you want a raw edge, that's fine. If you're doing paper, you can cut it to the exact height. I'm going to now turn this over so I can see if I got it centered. I'm going to do that. And it doesn't have to be perfectly centered this way, as long as you have some fabric on each side. Wow. Somebody's got their stereo turned up so loud it's vibrating things on my wall. Okay, so I'm going to use two things. I'm going to use my Crocodile. Now, I personally don't like the way the Crocodile does grommets, so I'm going to use this other kind of grommet set. But since I bought this thing, I do like the fact that you can punch holes through almost anything with it. And so I'm going to use the hole punch. And I want the hole, let me mark it here. I want the hole as close to the edges as I can get it without, going off the edge. You want to leave a little bit. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the center of that, because eventually you're going to have ribbons come out of these holes and you're going to tie your journal in here. So the journal, you want to make sure it's going to fit. So you wouldn't want to put your holes here because the journal's this big. So get it as close to the edge as you can. And then I'm going to punch the hole with this. Put that in. Punch the hole. Punch the other one. And that's it for the Crocodile as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you like the way they make grommets, you can use it for your grommets. I'm going to put two, one top and bottom. So I'm going to use the antique brass, I think. And I always have to remember how to use this thing because I don't use it that often. I wish I would put more grommets on things. I think they look cool, but all right, so pushing my grommet. Okay, I'm having a little trouble getting that pushed through the cardboard, but I finally got it. And then I put the ring. You put the pretty side, if you're using these kits, you want the pretty side to be where you put that piece. And then the ring you put on the back of it. And, okay, and then you take your little tool that comes with it and you just hammer it. And there's that one. Okay, so there's that one. And you know, I said I wanted to wrap that over, but if I do, I'm gonna go over that hole. So I think what I'll do, I guess I'll just gonna cut a notch where that is. And glue it that way. And same thing down here. And I'm gonna glue it. Got a little heavy there. Gonna glue it across the whole thing while I'm at it. Cut those extra strings off. Okay, now once you get these turned down the way you want them, then we're just going to turn them over, and we're going to center them on this spine and glue them in with Fabri-Tac. And this over here is just going to go under some other things and it won't show, so. Oh my goodness, one more thing. Ooh. Okay, you're going to use either ribbon or you can use sari silk or something like that to tie in your journal. So I think I'll use Hug and Snug. And let's see, I've got pink going on. So I think, well, I tell you what, I'm going to hedge my bets, I think, and use a neutral. I'm going to use this gold because there's gold on this spine fabric. I'll do that. So what you're going to do, of course, is cut enough so it's going to glue like this part, and then it's going to come up here and tie a bow. So you're going to want, I'll measure it here for you in just a second. You want about 32 to 34 inches of ribbon. And then you're going to feed the ends of it through the eyes, through the grommets, and center it up. And then you're going to glue this on, center it on the spine. Just look at the spine and glue that on. And I can see I used a cereal box and I accidentally used the side with the cereal box writing on it, which shows through this thin fabric. But you know what? It's a junk journal, so I'm all right with that. And it just kind of adds to the texture of it. Okay, so what you'll do eventually is you'll put your journal in here and this will tie in the middle of it and hold it in. So we're going to just leave it just to keep those tails out of the way. We'll go ahead and tie that. And then this one, that's a good kind of dull green that goes with that. And I said about 32 inches. Center that up. And we're ready to go to the next thing. Okay, I've looked for some papers I think I want to use. And the next thing we're going to do is, it's page 3, and we have this piece left from page 2 that goes with it. And it's going to be a giant envelope. And So I'm going to go ahead and cut those pieces out. And so there's 3 pieces to this. So I'm going to cut those out and then I'll be back. This is the next day from when I started shooting this. So we had a interesting thing happen. Yesterday I went into our spare bedroom, which I don't go in there ever, really. And when I walked in, the ceiling had collapsed in about a quarter of the room, and water had dripped down, and the carpet was soaked, and there was mold growing on the trim. Anyway, it was like a shocking situation. So anyway, we've been dealing with that. We've got a company in, that one of those companies that comes in and takes care of it, like the one that like it never happened, only I think it's not that company. But anyway, so we've had dehumidifiers running all night and all sorts of things, trying to get it dried out and cleaned up. And so anyway, here we are. So I have this cut out, and I need one for each journal. So here's the main part of the envelope, sorry. And you'll see where it says EP. That's where in the company that I worked for 30 years, instead of saying envelope, because it was a word that we used a lot, we would say EP. So I just am in the habit of saying EP. So I apologize if you hear me say EP, I mean envelope. Okay, so this is your top flap and this is your bottom flap. And so I am going to cut those out of music, and this I'm going to cut out of this old blueprint that somebody gave me, piece of it. So that's my plan for this one. And this one, I'm going to use this green paper. This is just some scrapbook paper I had. And then this, I was experimenting with different sprays and stuff. So I'm going to use, I think I'll use that for the main piece and then use the flaps out of this. So just going to trace this on, and instead of trying to conserve the paper, I want to make sure I get a really pretty part of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the front side so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've cut these pieces out. I've got my scoreboard out here, and one of my subbies gave me a hint. She said run a black marker on the line so you don't have to try to find it down below. So that was very helpful. I think I might reinforce that with some washi tape. That's pretty brittle. Okay, so where's my marks? Okay. All right. And actually, I'm just going to get my washi tape out right now. Okay, let's see what goes best with my blue. Let me see if I've got another one. Okay, so, I mean, this kind of lends itself to this, but it's thin. Okay. I'll go ahead and use this one just to reinforce. And actually, I hadn't scored this one yet, so I'm going to score this one. This was from the first one I did. So you just fold those glue tabs in. I can just put that on the 1/2-inch line, or I'll put it on this line, and then score it at the 1/2-inch line, so I don't have to mark it. See, I'm getting smarter as I go. I'm figuring this out. You guys are like, good heavenly days. What's wrong with her? I will figure Okay, so then we also want to ink all of our stuff, all of our pieces before we glue them. And you might want to use colored ink if you don't want to use the, depending on what look you're going for. Okay, so I'm going to take these pieces, these pattern pieces now, and put them in my folder, and so I don't lose them. Okay, so back to this. This one, you can tell what's the cover because you've got the pocket on the front. So the envelope is going to go, let's see, this one goes here. This one goes here. Like so. And so you're going to glue these flaps first. And you want to fold it so you see how much room you have to work with. Now this is smaller, so you kind of want to either center it or bring it over to where your washi tape will cover whatever's going on. So, and then you want the body to fit in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and just kind of do a dry fit. Let's see. And then this comes at the bottom. Okay, so that's kind of how it fits. So you've got space here and here. So figure out where you want to put it. Boy, that is just really, I guess my frame is crooked. Okay, and then you've got that much room over here on the side, which is fine because you've got other things going on. You don't want to bind it up. So I wouldn't put it more than that far over from the edge. So I'm going to glue the flap approximately there. And so I'll put that in first. And then I'm going to put this in again. And go ahead and put glue on here. And I'm going to pull it up against that body of the envelope, and that helps me know where it needs to go. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then you're going to glue this side here that glues here. So I'm going to put this. When you do glue flaps, you always want to get it as close to that fold as you can. Sort of kind of where you want it. Okay, now let me make sure this is going to be straight across. And I've got it not quite far enough. Okay, that's this thing about art glitter glue. It doesn't really like to move, but I'm making it move. So, okay, so there's some give here. You can, like I didn't get that clear down to the fold, but that's fine. And it's almost completely over on the edge. That's okay too. So we are going to glue this down. Okay, so glue that down. And then of course we're going to leave this open and glue this one shut. Okay, so that will be your envelope. And you could put, if you wanted to, you could put a circle tie closure, but we're going to be doing a lot of those. So I'm not going to do it on this one. I'm just going to leave mine open. Now the flap, actually, since I don't have a design on the back of that, I can stamp. I'll come back later with a stencil probably and just go around and stamp whatever I missed. Okay, so now we're ready for the page 4 of the patterns, and we're going to do this back panel. And so we'll cut this out and figure out what paper you want to use. It's going to be under a removable piece, and it's going to have a pocket on top of it if you want there to be. It's up to you, but okay, so back to this completed journal so you can see what this is. So on this is the back panel of your journal. And so it's actually this under paper. It's just a paper like, it doesn't show much on this one because I added a pocket here. This was not in the kit, but I took just a piece of artwork that I had and just made a pocket and glued over it. So you can do that. It's going to have this removable piece that goes over it. And so it's up to you if you want to have a pocket under there or not. So choose your paper accordingly. Okay, so I found this greeting card that I'm going to use on this one, and I didn't like the paper that I glued in here, so I actually tore it off, and I'm doing it over for a couple of reasons. One being that I forgot to tell you to put a ribbon behind this for the back panel, and it has a tie-in. We're going to tie in something, and so this needs to have a ribbon behind it as well. So it's going to need to be like 32 to 34 inches. Also, so I'm going to find the midpoint here and glue it on the back. And I also thought this went with the cover, and I want to make sure I have pink in this because that's the cover, is pink, hot pink. And so I thought this pink on this card kind of tied in with the whole thing better, even though I have green over on this other side. I'm going to go with pink over here. Okay, so I think that's the center. Okay, so that ribbon is glued there. And then I'm going to turn this panel over and glue it down here. So I'm admitting to you that I made a mistake by gluing the paper down without the ribbon behind it. But after I looked at what I put down, I didn't like it anyway, so it all works out. I like this much better. And I'm going to put that right over the top of what I had. Kind of slide it down just a little bit. And, you know, I told you could put a pocket here on top of this if you wanted to. On my other one, I think I will put a pocket, but this one I like what it says. This is the day that the Lord has made. And so I'll probably leave it alone and not put a pocket on this one. I'm going to tie it just to keep this ribbon out of the way. And so I'll show you the other one. I changed it out as well. I decided I had a different piece of paper over here and it just was too much. So I decided to go back to that blueprint and cut another piece out over here, put the ribbon behind it, and have that be the second panel. So I'll have plenty of variety in here, I think, but I don't need to have every single piece be different. So this gives a little bit of cohesion, I think, for this one. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So there we go. That is that panel. And I'm going to stop for this video, and the next time around we will be ready probably to work on the accordion panel. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.